Nile, the longest river in the world. The world's longest river plunges down waterfalls, plods through swamps, crosses a desert, and hurdles a giant dam on its journey to the sea. It provides water for crops, turns turbines to make electricity, and makes a watery home for hippos and crocodiles. The world's longest river is called the Nile and begins a trickling stream high in mountains of Central Africa. The Nile travels in a different style from the other great rivers of the world. Instead of moving from north to south, the slope of the land takes it in the opposite direction. This backward trip begins up the most distant source of Nile water, a small spring that bubbles out of the ground in the tiny nation of Burundi. From here, the waters rush through Tanzania and Rwanda before feeding into the giant lake called Lake Victoria. By the time the river spills out the north shore of the lake, it has passed over the equator, the imaginary line that divides the Earth's northern and southern hemispheres. This section of the river, which crosses the nation of Uganda, is known as the Victoria Nile. The Victoria Nile tumbles down out of the mountains into large lake called Lake Albert. The Nile's first major tributary is called the Sobot River. It flows into the Nile just above the city of Malakal for next 500 miles. The river is known as the White Nile, a wide, calm river lined with swamps. The second major source of the Nile is anything but calm. The Blue Nile starts in the mountains of Ethiopia, a mile above sea level. The Blue Nile plunges through a mile-deep canyon in its rush to meet the White Nile. The cliff walls above the canyon close together to block out the sun. The river holds a heavy load of sediment, suspended particles of soil, and sand that color the water. The Blue and White Nile meet in the Sudanese city of Khartoum, a word that means elephant's trunk. The place where the two rivers meet resembles the outline of the animal's head, with the Blue Nile forming the trunk. Nile is the home to many hippos and crocodiles. Hippos are excellent swimmers despite their size. They can stay underwater for as long as 10 minutes. They spend the day splashing in the Nile to stay cool, gathering in groups of up to 15 animals. The Nile crocodiles stay close to the river. The world's largest reptile, a crocodile, may grow up to 20 feet long. In daytime, they are easy to spot. They sun themselves on sandbars in the river, opening and closing their jaws to stay cool. A mapping expedition launched by British General Charles George Gordon in 1874 finally confirmed Speke's belief that Lake Victoria was the main source of the Nile. For a time, it was assumed that the source was no farther south, but the search was not quite finished. Later adventures traced the source of the Nile back even farther to small tributaries in the countries of Burundi and Rwanda that feed Lake Victoria. In 1937, German explorer Burkhard Waldecker found the main tributary of Victoria. He followed its path upstream to a small spring in Burundi, one of the smallest countries in the world. Today, the spot is marked by a small pyramid with a bronze plate bearing the Latin inscription Caput Nili, which means the source of the Nile. 11-country journey. While often associated only with Egypt, the Nile flows through or acts as a border for Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, DR Congo, Kenya, Ethiopia, Eritrea, South Sudan, Sudan, and Egypt. And ancient papyrus paper, the river is surrounded by the papyrus plant, which ancient Egyptians used to create the world's first paper-like writing material. The Great Bend. In Sudan, the river takes a massive, strange detour known as the Great Bend, where it flows in the opposite direction of its usual course before turning north again. Egypt has been called the gift of the Nile. It is true in every sense. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day.